Welcome to Pick'em Pandemonium, Week 3, a Brash Plus exclusive. Brash Plus, the hottest content at the highest prices. I'm Josh. I'm joined here with Brandon. We've got a lot of picks to get into. I need a little redemption from last week. I got my ass kicked yet again, Brandon. I don't know how you did, but I've been just getting rocked early on this year. So big turnaround week for me. How are you doing, bud?
Doing a lot better. Doing a lot better than I was in our previous recording. And but when it comes to the picks, obviously terrible. we need to do good this week, Josh. If we do not have a winning record after this pick'em, then we might just have to set aside the Pandemonium, because I don't know what's the point if we're making these picks and we're just under 500 every single week. I mean, my overall record for the season is 17-16. So I really need to have a big fucking week. And I know we didn't compare notes, but I'm sure we're going to have the same picks. I'm already maybe one or two different. We usually have two different.
It's always two.
But
it's always two.
Yeah, it's going to be two. There's going to be two in there.
I got pretty aggressive with my picks because I'm at 15-18 on the year. After being I was like 60 games above 500 last year. Now I'm already 2 games back through 2 weeks. Not a good look. 3 games back, but in the first 2 weeks, not a good look. So yeah, big turnaround week. We are going to do it. We're going to pull it off. I feel really good about it. Why don't we go ahead and dive in to the first matchup of the week?
All right, we're kicking things off, of course, with the early slate of games on Sunday. 1 o'clock start time. My time, 12 o'clock for you spoiled bastards in Central Time.
So good.
I have the first game listed here as the Buffalo Bills headed to Landover, Maryland. FedEx Field sold out for the second consecutive time, by the way, to take on the Washington Commanders. Bills at 1-1, Commanders at 2-0. The line currently sitting at a Buffalo -6, and the over/under at a 43. Expected to see some inclement weather here. It's gonna be just a soggy, rainy, stinky day in Landover.
Rainy Maryland day.
Yeah, I mean, when you picture Landover, Maryland, you just picture a stinky, nasty day.
That's true.
But Bills Mafia, I'm sure, will be traveling. Hopefully, majority of those fans in the stands are those of the Skins or Commanders. We're just getting this one out of the way, okay? And I'm, of course, fired up for it. My team being 2-0 for the first time in over 10 years. You know, I'm excited. This is the real test here, though. You know, you beat the Cardinals, you beat the Broncos. Okay, can't get too excited. But if they can somehow muster a win against the Bills, then they'll be respected as a legit 3-0 team that has a chance of making a move in the playoffs. But I mean, do you want me just to jump right in, or do you have some fun stats you wanted to get to on this one before we start making?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things to note. The Bills have won 8 of 9 matchups against the Commanders since losing the Super Bowl in 1991. And Sam Howell is 2-0 outright as an underdog in his career. So anytime you sleep on that man, he makes you pay for it. So some fun stats to throw at you if you're not sure which way to go with this one.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this will be his 4th official start as the Commanders' lead man, and his second home game. I can't remember if that last game in Dallas last season was in Dallas or not.
I think it was in Landover.
It was. Okay. Yeah. So this will be his 3rd home game as a starter. I think the crowd they'll be bumping. It'll be loud. It'll be exciting. I liked what I saw out of the Redskins last week in Denver in terms of the resilience. I liked how Chase Young looked like he was ready to fucking go this year. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
don't want to get too excited with Chase Young because you never know, and he could get injured again and then he's gone for another 2 years. But from what I saw, I mean, I think he finished with like a sack and a half and a couple tackles for losses, but good overall performance by our defensive line. I think that's what we're going to need if we're going to want to have a chance against the Bills. And the weather might actually play a big factor in our favor because if both teams are forced to run the ball, I think we got him beat there. I think Brian Robinson has proven himself as a legit number one guy in the NFL. So
He looks really good.
And I'm careful this whole season, not just picking the Skins because I'm a burgundy and gold fan. I did a lot of thinking. I went back and forth on this one. I'm going with the Commanders, and the reason is the home field. I think that we're finally going to see some home field advantage for this team this season, and the Bills. I'm not as scared as I probably would have been at the beginning of the year. I know it's still the beginning; it's only week 3, but they've shown that their offensive line is porous. They can allow that defensive front to come flooding through and force Josh Allen to make some mistakes. That's what I think we're going to see here. We need to have a big start, though, a strong start. If we let the Bills get to a 14-point lead early, we're not going to be able to come back like we did against the Broncos. But I think this one will be tight all the way through. It'll probably come down to a game-winning field goal when it all is said and done. But the Skins hang in there, and they get the win at home against the Bills. I see Sam Howell having another big day with no turnovers, and I see Brian Robinson having a 100-yard game. Also, give me Jahan Dotson to score his first touchdown of the season.
Wow, some little prop parlays going in there too. I like it.
Popped in a prop.
Yeah, dude. I went back and forth on this one as well. I think it's a field goal game, so I love the Commanders +6, or I think it's 6.5 now. So if you can get 6.5 for the Commanders, take that all day. Also, I love the under in this game. It's going to be a sloppy, soggy mess. You've got Sam Howell, who's basically a rookie, Josh Allen, who's very turnover prone, in a sloppy, wet, nasty, muddy mess. So, yeah, I love the under. I'm going to go with the Bills just because I can't trust Sam Howell right now to get through. I haven't seen him play in the mud. Who knows? His mother might be a mudder. I don't know. But I really think that the Bills are going to pull this one off, but it could go either way. This is one that I was on the fence all week about, couldn't make up my mind. Would not shock me in the slightest if the Commanders come out with a win here, but I'm taking the Bills just because a little bit of that veteran edge Josh Allen has. Even if he throws a bunch of picks, I think Sam Howell's probably going to have a sloppy game too. So give me the Bills.
Just real quick, before we move on, I needed to make note of this. Did you know Sam Howell is like half Korean?
Oh.
Didn't know that.
Well, with a name like Sam Howell, you probably should have just assumed. That's random. I mean, good for him.
Right. I read that this past week, and then I tried looking up. Usually in Wikipedia they'll tell you tiny little notes like that, but couldn't figure out if it was his mom or his dad's side. But this is gonna. Oh my god! I hope I don't get myself in trouble here. But I was always wondering why. Why he always seems like he's going like this, and I know that's again seems a little fucked up, but no, I mean again it's not that he's doing that, it's that he's got a lot of Korean blood in him, so the guy's he's Korean, so there you go.
I just thought the sun was in his eyes. Turns out he's just half Korean.
I mean,
that also explains why he lives in Annandale. He's the only Redskins player who lives in Annandale.
Oh my god. Yeah, see, that's too far, Josh.
The street signs are in Korean. That's not fair.
All right. Well, yeah, there you go. There's your little food for thought right there. Korean barbecue, if you will, for Sam Howell. Let's move right along let's head on over to Cleveland Browns Stadium, where the Tennessee Titans are coming to town at 1-1, taking on those Browns, also 1-1. The line currently sitting at -3.5 for the Browns. Over under at 39.5. Probably would have had a different opinion on this one had I not watched a majority of that Monday night game where the Browns lost to the Steelers. I already was, very low on the Browns offense. I'm even lower than I was before. But let's see what you got. If you got any fun stats real quick, Josh, before I go too far.
I mean, I think obviously not having Nick Chubb is a huge loss, right?
Okay.
We don't necessarily know. Jerome, he looked good. Ford looked good on Monday night, but who knows? That could just be a flash in the pan type situation, right? When you don't have that safety net and you're depending more on Deshaun Watson, who's looked awful this year. I don't know. But a quick stat for you, the Browns have not allowed any red zone touchdowns or field goals. They would be the first team since 1978 to not allow any red zone points through 3 games. So if you're going to score on them, you got to do it from deep, apparently. And the Titans are 7-2-1 against the spread on the road since the start of last season. So Mike Vrabel loves hitting the road, loves hitting these bad teams on the road. So if that sways you one way or another, I think I know where you're leaning in this game, though.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag. I'm going with the Titans getting the win in Cleveland. I mean, going into the season, I was low on both of these teams regardless. I'm still not overly confident in my pick, to be completely honest. But just, again, from what I've seen after the first 2 weeks, I think the Titans appear to be the better overall squad. So I have the Titans going in, getting the win. But I 3.5. Well, that's 3.5 for Cleveland. But I'd say Titans maybe by 7, no more than 7.
Wow. Okay.
7 or less.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a close one too. I could see this one being a field goal. I do like the under yet again, even though it's a pretty low line. Like, this to me has like a 17-16 type feel to it. But if the Titans are going to catch 3.5 points, I'm going to fucking take them. Like, that to me is one of the easier bets of the year. So liking the underdogs so far. And my pick as well is the Titans. I think they win outright. I don't even think you need the points, but I just can't trust the Browns right now. They looked so bad Monday. And the Titans defense is no joke. Like, I think they're one of the best running defenses in the NFL. So if you're, again, going to depend on Deshaun Watson, you should also depend on losing a lot of games because he looks awful so far this year. I thought he'd bounce back. I was kind of high on the Browns thinking, hey, dude, Deshaun Watson, now that he has a full training camp, he's got, preseason games under him. He's going to be back in the flow. We're going to see old Deshaun Watson back. No, he has absolutely lost a step. He looks really bad. So I can't trust the Browns. I'm surprised they're even, favored by as much as they are. Titans win this one outright.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. I like the under 39.5 for that one as well. Let's head on over to Ford Field in Detroit, where the Atlanta Falcons at 2-0 are coming to try to make it 3-0 against the Lions, who are sitting at 1-1. The line here is in the Lions' favor at -3. The under over at 46. Just absolutely stunned that the Falcons are sitting at 2-0, and a bit surprised that the Lions aren't. Given after that win, the big win that they had for the NFL kickoff, I was surprised that they were able to find a way to lose last week, and I think vast majority of people were picking the Lions. So but hey, let's get to our fun stats.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how fun they are, but if you're a degenerate like me, as much as possible before you're laying down some money on these. So Bijan Robinson has 180 rushing yards, second most in the NFL. He leads all running backs in receptions this year also. So he's a dual threat. He's looked fucking awesome so far. And if you are going to bet this one, you might want to know the line 4-12 against the spread under Dan Campbell, the second best mark in the NFL in that span, basically since 2021. He's 3-3 outright and against the spread as a favorite. So he plays better as an underdog. But I think that they were just underdogs a lot last year and they kind of overperformed. This year, you beat the Chiefs on the road and then you lose at home against the Seahawks. Like, who knows? I think they're just going to be one of those teams where it's going to be very unpredictable. I think you got to keep an eye on Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's questionable for this game. He's obviously a game changer for the Lions. And the Falcons, yeah, it's surprising that they're 2-0, but they beat the Panthers and then the Packers, right? So like, it's not like they don't have any surprising wins. I think they're due for a little bit of a downslide. I like their defense. I don't trust Desmond Ridder, so I think this could be the week that they show their true colors. What do you got? Who do you have in this one, B?
Sounds like we're both going with the Lions here to get their win from the Lions faithful at Ford Field. I like the over as well, 46, and I like the line. I think the Lions will win by. I got them winning by like 8 points or more. So, give me the Lions getting the win against the Falcons.
I'm with you on the over. I think I'm staying away from the line. The line seems a little fishy. I could see this one being closer. I could even see the Falcons winning this one, but I'm on the Lions as well, and I like the over. I think it's going to be a track meet up there in Detroit.
Moving right along to Lambeau Field, where the New Orleans Saints at 2-0. Here we go. Taking on the 1-1 Packers. The line at -1 in the Packers' favor, and the over-under at 42.5. Let's just get right to our stats, Josh.
The Saints have held opponents to 20 or fewer points in a franchise record 10 straight games. The only team with a longer streak over the past 25 seasons is the Patriots. It's 11 straight in 2018, 2019. I believe they won the Super Bowl that year. And then, little gambling nugget here. Green Bay is 13-4 against the spread after a loss under Matt LaFleur. So they get fired up after they get beat, and they got beat last week. Don't know where that accent came from, but
yeah.
But this one's tight. I really didn't. I went back and forth on this one a lot too.
This one's a coin flip. This is such a coin flip.
Such a coin flip. And dude, the Saints defense, they're showing me things, dude. They're very good. I didn't think they'd be as good as they are. Lattimore is maybe the best. Everyone talks about Sauce Gardner and Patrick Surtain. Dude, Marshawn Lattimore put some respect on that man's name, because he makes plays every single week, and that defense wouldn't be the same without him. So I went back and forth a lot. Who did you end up picking for this one, B?
I picked the Packers because it is their home opener, and they were impressive against the Bears. And I know we have the Bears being the worst team in the league, but I just think that I just think they're going to be fired up in front of their home crowd, and I'm not that confident in the Saints. I know they're 2-0, but again, they beat the Titans and they beat the Panthers, and both of those were a margin of 3 points or less. So I got the Packers getting the win at home, and it will be a close one. Obviously, Packers -1. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
They're going to kind of have to do that if they're going to get the dub. But I would stay away from the over under there. I mean, even though, this one, with Jordan Love and Derek Carr, they could just, put on a bit of a show in front of that crowd. I'm leaning towards the under, but I'm not that confident. So I'd stay away from that. But when all is said and done, I think the Packers will be 2-1, and so will the Saints.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the spread and the under as well, but I do have the Packers winning this. I'm with you. It's that home field coin flip advantage. If you don't really know, all right, lean with the home team. I didn't realize it was their home opener. That's big. Like, those cheeseheads are going to be fired up. And yeah, Jordan Love, like, this is going to be a game where he really has to prove something. Like, he can't be as wishy-washy as he's been. He needs to be more consistent, and the Saints defense is very tough. So if he makes a lot of mistakes, I could easily see the Saints winning this because they just feel like a more consistent team, and the Packers feel more like could expect anything. But I am going to go with the Packers here as my pick just because of the home field advantage. But stay away from the over-under. I have no idea how this game's going to go.
No. All right. So far, here we go again. We're on the same page completely. Where maybe you'll throw a curveball here, Josh, for our next one. We have the Denver Broncos headed to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The Broncos are currently sitting at 0-2, and the Dolphins at 2-0. Line for Miami is at -6.5. The over-under at 48. Give us your stats, Josh.
Well, Russell Wilson has a QBR of 17 versus man coverage this season. It's the second worst in the NFL, behind your boy, Kenny Pickett. Tiny Hands Kenny, as you like to call him. The Dolphins have used man coverage the third highest rate in the NFL through the first 2 weeks. So they love to run the man coverage, and Russell Wilson not very good against the man coverage. And the Dolphins are 14-5-1 against the spread as home favorites since 2017. So all the stats are telling you where to go in this game, but there might be some surprises in our picks. Brandon, who do you got?
Yeah, I wasn't high on the Broncos coming into the season. I wasn't really that high on the Dolphins either, but the Dolphins have really gone out of their way to prove me wrong, and they are the most exciting offense in the NFL at the moment. So even if this one, because I'm not high on the Dolphins defense, yes, they look decent against the Patriots, but I think Russell Wilson could go out there and have a great day. But if they're going to go tit for tat, and it's going to be one of those, just shoot them out type fucking, back and forth type games, the Dolphins, they'll get the better end of that in Miami. So I do like the over of 48, and I like the Dolphins. But the line 6.5, I'd probably still stay away from that, even though I have the Dolphins getting the win, just because the Broncos could score like a garbage time touchdown that could, bring it to like a 4-point, lead. And so I'd stay away from that. But I like the Dolphins just comfortably getting the win. But not the scoreline might not show that, but I like the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins as well. I mean, they're number 2 in my power rankings. I got to have them at home against the Broncos, right? Or else why are they that high? I will take the spread too. I think they beat them by a touchdown. I think it's close at first. Like, I probably wouldn't do any first half type situations, but in the second half, I think Miami just they go in the locker room, they scheme a little bit. Russell Wilson off script has not been good. Like, he's pretty good in the first quarter, first half, when they have the game plan laid out and he's just, doing what the coach is telling him to. But when it's time for him to run around and make a play, he's not making them. So I like the Dolphins. I think that they win. I think they cover the spread, and I like the over.
All right, moving right along. LA Chargers. I'm never going to get used to saying LA Chargers.
It's so hard, dude.
It sucks.
They need to
sitting at 0-2. They're going to face another 0-2 team as they head to US Bank Stadium to take on the Minnesota Vikings. The line at a -1 in the Vikings' favor, very tight, and the over/under at 54. This one, genuine coin flip.
Yeah.
Both teams desperate for a dub, and both teams certainly didn't see themselves sitting at 0-2 after 2 weeks. So this will probably end up being the game of the week. It's going to be
I was gonna
a
say that.
slobber knocker.
I was gonna predict that too, Brandon.
Oh, damn it.
It
Sorry,
has the
buddy.
potential for game of the week.
Well, let's see what stats you got, and then we'll make our picks.
Oh shit! Stat to know: Keenan Allen needs 111 receiving yards to pass Lance Allworth for second most in Chargers history. So look for him to try and break some records there. And the Vikings have covered 5 straight meetings dating back to 2007 against the Chargers. So Vikings playing them pretty tough, these Chargers. But I don't know, man. I just can't trust the Vikings right now. Can you?
Ooh, wow. All right. So
Can you trust?
I can't trust any of these.
That's true.
I can't trust either of these two teams. I'm going with the Vikings, and I'm going with the Vikings because they're at home. And I don't talk about distrust. I do not trust the Chargers defense. I think they're horrendous. So I think that Kirk Cousins and company will have an easy day, to be completely honest. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 14 or more. I mean, it should be, a very exciting game regardless. But I think in the fourth quarter, you'll see my prediction is that the Vikings will run away with it, get that win comfortably when all is said and done. So yeah, give me the Vikings getting the win and Brandon Staley getting the boot come Monday.
Yeah, that's a prediction we made last week. Is that if dude, if the Chargers lose this week, Brandon Staley is gone. Like he has used up every bit of goodwill in that town and with those owners to have the highest paid defense in the league and to underperform as much as they do. I mean, they are like last in the league in almost every defensive statistic. But right there with them is the Vikings. Like the Vikings defense is horrible too. And normally if it's a coin flip situation, which this game is going to be very close in my mind, I don't think either of these teams are going to win by 14. I usually take the home team, and I usually love Kirk Cousins at noon on a Sunday. I mean, the sun's shining in, and he's feeling good about himself. But then week 1, the Buccaneers, who are obviously better than we thought, they come in and just fucking work them. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here. I think that they are going to be a little bit hungrier. I think they are going to feel like, their backs are against the wall a little bit more than the Vikings. And I just like Justin Herbert a little more than I like Kirk Cousins. So I will take the Chargers in this matchup. Feeling pretty confident, going to gain a game back in our pick'ems. In our pick'ems battle.
I'm glad we finally disagree on one. All right, let's move to a AFC.
Well, I've got the Bills and you've got the Commanders, so that's 2 already.
Sorry, bud. That might be the 2. Let's go to an AFC East matchup between the Patriots and the Jets. Pats at 0-2, Jets at 1-1. And the line in the Pats favorite -2.5, over under at 36. Stats, Josh.
Jones has thrown 96 passes this season, which leads all quarterbacks through 2 weeks. That's not something you really want to have, is Mac Jones leading the league in pass attempts. It's the 3rd most by any player in the team's first 2 games in franchise history. So Tom Brady obviously had 100 in 2009. And then Drew Bledsoe, our guy, Drew Bledsoe, 98 in 1995. Great year for football that year. And then if you're going to throw a little money on this game, you might want to know 7 of Wilson's, that's Zach Wilson's, past 8 starts have gone under the total. He's 0-4 outright and against the spread in his past 4 starts. Not a good look, Zach Wilson. I'm wearing my Jets green today for you too, buddy.
Yeah,
who do you have in this game, Brandon?
I'm going with the Patriots getting the win. I have no confidence in Zach Wilson whatsoever, and I think Bill Belichick will do a great job scheming against his punk ass. So give me the Patriots. Not get over under. Over under and the spread I would stay away from. I just feel like at the end of the day, the Pats get the win and the Jets go to 1-2.
Yeah, this game, another one where I went back and forth a few times. Every time I talked myself into New England, I found reasons to like the Jets, and then I talked myself on the Jets, and then I'm back on New England. Stay away from the spread. I don't like it. The over under is real tempting to take the under just because you know that this is going to be more of a defensive battle than an offensive battle. But dude, Mac Jones kind of has been pretty good in my opinion. Like he's actually performed better than I expected him to so far this year, but that Jets defense is still stacked. Now, if this game starts to get away from the Jets, you're going to see a lot of angry fans there in New York. They're going to be booing Zach Wilson off the field. They're going to be yelling various free agent quarterbacks to bring in to take his place. So that home crowd could turn on them quick, and I think they will, which is why I'm taking the Patriots as well this week. But staying away from the spread, staying away from the over under, even though the under just is begging you to take it. I still wouldn't.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the AFC South divisional matchup. The Houston Texans at 0-2 taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at Everbank Stadium at Jags at 1-1. The spread on that one for the Jags is 7.5 or minus 7.5, and the over-under at 44. Shouldn't spend too much time on this, but let's hear what stats you got just in case.
Well, CJ Stroud has 91 pass attempts without an interception. He's only 44 attempts away from reaching the top 5 longest streaks to begin a career. So, yeah, the guy's being careful with the ball. That's important there. And then the Jags are 0-7 against the spread in their past 7 games as home favorites. They're also 1-6 outright at that time. Jags are one of those teams. They need that chip on their shoulder. They need to be the underdog in order to perform. So I think this game could be a little bit closer than you're giving them credit for, Brandon.
Well, I think definitely it could be within that 7.5 points, but I still got the Jags getting the win. The reason is because if they lose to the Texans at home in week 3, their season's over, in my opinion. I think that it's going to be a horrible year for them, a big downer, and Doug Peterson's going to be on his way out, which is why I got the Jags getting the win, as they should, at home against the lowly Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Jags to win for sure. The spread, again, makes me nervous. That has backdoor cover just written all over it. If they end up, like, I don't know, pulling their starters in the fourth quarter or something. But, yeah, dude, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the AFC and being the being the number 1 seed in the AFC going into the playoffs. They're 1-1 right now. Their only losses to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I still feel pretty good about it, but they have to get this one if they want to accomplish that goal, which I still think they will. So give me the Jags.
All right. Well, the Colts are going back to Baltimore, Josh. You hear about this? Is breaking news. Now, the Indianapolis Colts are visiting Baltimore. Colts sitting at 1-1. The Ravens at 2-0. They're going to be at M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens line at -8, and the over/under for this one is at 44. Again, I'll be stunned, absolutely stunned, if you end up taking the Colts here. But I think you're a bit higher on the Colts than I am. But then again, they're without Anthony Richardson, and who is starting for them?
Gardner Minshew.
Minshew. Yeah, Minshew's he's no schlub. I mean, he's a pretty decent backup. But did you have any stats before we fly through our picks?
Sure. Rookie Zay Flowers for the Baltimore Ravens has 13 receptions in his first 2 games, which is more than twice of any other Ravens player. Now, Mark Andrews did miss week 1. But if you're going to put any money on this game, you might want to know the Colts' past 5 road games have gone over the total. So it might be a sneaky over game here. No, if Anthony Richardson was playing, I definitely think it would be a closer game. And Gardner Minshew has his moments. Like, he's a super hit or miss quarterback. But you got to lean more to the miss than the hit when you're on the road in Baltimore. Ravens are very, very good this year. Lamar Jackson's playing out of his mind. 8's a big number for spread, or 8.5, wherever it lands. So it makes me a little nervous, but I think the Ravens win pretty comfortably here.
Yeah, I like the Ravens by at least 8, and I like over 44 for this game. All right, well, that's our early slate of games. Time to move right along to our late slate for Sunday games. First game we have in the late slate is the Carolina Panthers at 0-2, headed to Seattle. Take on the Seahawks, who are at 1-1. The line on this one is in the Seahawks' favor, of course, at minus 5.5, and the over under at 42. Again, there's no, there's not going to be too many surprises here. This
nicely put.
didn't take too much thought really to make a pick here.
No, this to me has big bounce back spot for Seattle, but Kenneth Walker III has 4 career games with multiple rushing touchdowns, tied for the most by a Seahawks player in the first 2 seasons in team history. And the Seahawks are 1-6 against the spread as a favorite over the past 2 seasons, going 0-5 against the spread in their past 5 games. They don't like being the favorite either. They need that chip. And they were underdogs a lot on the early part of last season, so I could see why that stat's a little skewed. But, dude, the Panthers, they looked bad on Monday night. It's really unfortunate because I like to root for the Panthers. They're a fun little team. I lived in Carolina for a while. They're like a little brother team in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, there's real franchises, there's real teams. Then you just got like little Panthers trotting out their little tiny quarterback. I just can't see them going across the country into Seattle and beating the Seahawks here. So I would be comfortable taking Seattle minus 6.5. If that line gets over a touchdown, I wouldn't take it. I also wouldn't touch the over under because who the fuck knows how many points Seattle's going to put up. Their Panthers defense on the road is not very good. They play well at home, but they're not as great on the road. So Seahawks win comfortably in my mind in this one.
I had it at minus 5.5 for Seattle, but maybe that's just changed. They
move all the time.
Happens.
Depending where you get them from, it happens all the time.
But Andy Dalton will be getting the start for the Panthers, not Bryce Young because he's out. But
you're right. I forgot.
I don't think it matters. I would be going with the Seahawks either way. And yes, Seahawks minus 5.5, over under at 42. You know what? For whatever reason, I'm going under 42. Going under 42.
Okay. Well, here's something fun to keep an eye on. If I've totally forgot about Andy Dalton, if he goes up to Seattle and plays well, and the Jets get blown out, watch for New York to reach out to him. Can't you picture Andy Dalton in a Jets uniform?
Yeah, of course.
He looks like he's meant for that green.
Yeah, well, they'd be better off with Colt McCoy's a free agent, isn't he? I mean, they could just go get him. He's better than stupid bitch ass Zach Wilson. So
I think, I don't know what's up with Colt McCoy. I think I heard somewhere he's like hurt or something. Like that's the reason why he's not on anyone's team.
All right,
but Andy Dalton, I feel like would be a fit on that team.
No.
I would love to see that.
Again, definitely be an upgrade over what they got. Let's move to this one, the easiest pick of the week. The Chicago Bears headed to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. Bears, of course, at 0-2. Chiefs at 1-1, and the line on this one was minus 12.5. The over/under at 48. I mean, we'll get through any stats you got, but
I don't really need to, but since the start of last season, 54% of the Chiefs' receiving yards have come after the catch, the highest rate in the league. The Bears rank 31st in opponent yards after the catch per reception over that same span. That's good for the Bears. And Fields is 8-18-1 against the spread in his career, including 0-3 against the spread when getting double digits. So the Bears, with Justin Fields at quarterback, have been double-digit underdogs 3 times and have yet to cover. So I think you can play the Chiefs pretty comfortably here. This feels like a big bounce-back week for the Chiefs. Everyone was kind of wondering, hey, where's that offense against Jacksonville? Hey, you guys lost at home to Detroit. What's going on? This is the game where they go, oh, by the way, we're still fucking here. We won the Super Bowl last year. we're healthy, we've got all of our players back, and this is what we're capable of. So this has all of the makings for an absolute rout. Give me Kansas City, give me covering, give me the over just from Kansas City themselves. Like, I don't know what their team total is. It's probably something like 30, 35. Give me team over. Like, they're going to put up 50 points.
Yeah, the Bears will be the feel-good team for any opponent this season. And you know, if anybody just trying to get back on the right track, you want to go up against them Bears and the Bears. two. There's two in a row right there, Josh. I got the Chiefs by at least 20 and over 48.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Last year, I think it was around the same time, everyone was saying the same thing, Chiefs against the Colts. Remember, and the Colts pulled that upset, and everyone was like, what the fuck was that?
I'm sorry. That's different.
But it's not going to happen this week. Different. Not going to happen this week. The Bears are truly awful.
Now, God, what's that guy's name again? The coach for the shitty ass Bears.
Oh, Matt Eberflus.
I don't think Eberflus will get the boot after this week. I think because the ownership will just look at us, that's the Chiefs. Let's see what happens next week. And then when they lose next week, then he'll finally get the boot. So yeah, I think
he'll get regardless, he's not making it to the end of the year.
No chance. Dallas Cowboys are headed to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Of course, the Cowboys at 2-0. The Cardinals at 0-2. The line at -13 for Dallas and the over-under at 43. I don't imagine there will be too many people picking the Cardinals, even Cardinals fans, for this one. But I did say the Cardinals will not be an easy out for anybody. I think these guys are a bunch of fucking fighters, and they'll surprise people. They will surprise people, even the Cowboys, with how much fight they got. So I expect this to be a lot closer than people think. I don't expect Dallas to go in there and blow anybody out. Even though I'd imagine a lot of people do. So I expect a very, very tight game, but I'm just, spoiler alert, I'm picking the Cowboys to get the win. Yeah. I just think it's gonna be closer than most expect. We're probably going to be looking at like a 3 to 6 point game.
Yeah, dude, this smells like a trap game. I don't know why. It just kind of reeks. But this is going to be Dak Prescott's 100th career game.
Wow.
He's the only player in NFL history with at least 150 touchdown passes and 25 rushing touchdowns in his first 100 games. So kind of an impressive stat from Dak there. I wouldn't have guessed that. Now, if you're going to gamble on this one, it's a big spread. The Cardinals are the 6th team in the past 30 seasons to start 2-0 against the spread, but 2-0-2 outright. Those teams were 1-4 outright and against the spread in their third game. So you might be looking at this as a big spread, but history will tell you that the Cowboys are going to cover here. I wouldn't take it, though. I think it's going to be a closer game. I'm with you. It smells like a trap. Something's got to give, and the Cardinals do look like they're playing really tough. I thought they would kind of just mail it in this season, but they're giving it their all. And Josh Dobbs, dude, I think he's like fighting for a starting job in the NFL. So he's giving it his all, and he's looked okay through the past 2 weeks. So I like the Cowboys to win, but I wouldn't trust that spread.
Stay away from that 13-point spread. I love the over 43, though. Love the over.
Yeah, I could see that over. Hitting.
All right, let's get to the game that everyone's going to be waiting all day for on Sunday, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are headed to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Both teams sitting at 1-1. The Raiders are favored in this one by 2.5, and the over/under at 43. Let's just get to your stats, Josh. I mean, I have a feeling we're going to be probably, maybe not, but I think we're going to be picking the same team on this one.
Well, Devontae Adams has 116 straight games with a reception, the 5th longest active streak in the league, trailing DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, and Stephon Diggs, and Zach Ertz. And Mike Tomlin is 2-6 against the spread in his career against the Raiders. He's 3-5 outright, all as a favorite. So I don't know. This is a tough one. This one, I could flip a coin. I really could. I went back and forth a lot on this one. Where are you leaning?
I just think the Raiders at least have something hopeful on the offensive side of the ball, and they're at home. So, for that reason, I'm going with the Raiders. I think this is a bounce back game for Josh Jacobs going against the worst rushing defense in the league. And I think the Raiders win. Of course, the Steelers could keep it close. I mean, they scored 2 defensive touchdowns on Monday against the Browns, so they could do that again. They're going to need defensive touchdowns if they're going to want to stay in any game because their offense isn't going to do a goddamn thing. But yeah, I think we'll see Josh Jacobs and Devontae have a decent day. So yeah, give me the Raiders getting the win in front of their home crowd in Vegas and getting to 2-1, and the Steelers getting to 1-2 where they should be, because frankly their offense sucks.
Yeah, offense not great, but I could see a bounce back week for that offense here in Las Vegas. I'm actually going with the Steelers.
Nice.
I think they win outright. If you're not comfortable with that, take the spread. I think that the defense will do enough against Jimmy G and the Raiders. I think he's going to be running. He's not a great quarterback when he's under pressure. He's great when he has all day to throw, and he obviously has better weapons. Now, you're right, Josh Jacobs might take this game over, but I don't know if it'll be enough. I like the Steelers in this spot. I think a lot of people are going to be sleeping on them after 2 kind of lackluster performances. I think this will be the time that they come out and strike and say, no, we can be good. We can be a decent team. So I like the Steelers this week.
Right on, man. All right. Well, get all your rowdy friends, because Monday night we got 2 more games. I guess this is just what they're going to do now. They keep throwing in another Monday night game at us, like, hey, what about that? Let's toss that in the Monday night too. So
I like the double up on Monday night. I got 2 screen games at once. It's kind of fun.
Well, the first one we're going to get to is the Philadelphia Eagles at 2-0 going into Tampa to take on the Bucs, who are also at 2-0. Philly favored by 5. The over-under at 45. This one actually did take me a little bit, to be completely honest with you, because I could see this one going either way. And from what I've seen in the first 2 games for Philly, they're not looking like the Philly I was expecting before the season started. So this one, I think, irregardless, I think it'll be a close one. I think it'll be a tight game. But let's see what stats you got.
You might want to know this then before you say that and put your foot in your mouth, Brandon. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown represent 79% of the Eagles' receiving yards, 59% of the targets, and 55% of the receptions this year. Those are highest percentages of a team's receiving yards by a duo this season. So if you can shut those 2 guys down, you'll be in good shape. And Baker Mayfield is 3-0 against the spread in his past 3 starts, 5-2 against the spread in his past 7 starts. So people sleeping on Baker, I've always said he plays better with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's realizing, like, if I don't make it work here, I'm done in this league. I think we both kind of thought he already was, but he's battling back, dude, and I like to see it. I like to see a little fight from Baker Mayfield, and the Bucs have been impressive. I mean, we forget, like, they won a Super Bowl a few years ago. They still have pieces from that squad on this team. They've got great 1-2 punch at wide receiver. Their running attack leaves a lot to be desired, but their defense is very good. They match up well against the Eagles, in my opinion. This is a close game, and the Eagles haven't looked good. You're right. They're missing that spark. They're missing that little something that gave them the edge in a lot of games last year. It probably has something to do with the fact that you picked them to go to the Super Bowl this year, and you're just cursing teams left and right. So I was very close to picking the Bucs here. I do not have the balls.
Do it.
I've got tiny, shriveled up little balls. I do not have the balls to pick the Buccaneers in this game. I've got the Eagles. At the end of the day, man, they are just, to me, a better team, top to bottom. So It sucks, but it will be close. I'm definitely taking the Bucks spread in this game. I think it's like a field goal type game.
Yeah, this is one of those games where if the Bucks can pull out the win, everybody will be looking and be like, okay, time to take the Bucks seriously.
Yeah.
And they'll be looking at the Eagles like, uh-oh, it might be a disappointing year for them. But I also went with the Eagles. I hate the spread. I hate the over-under, so I'd stay away from that shit. I just hate the pick in general too. I mean, again, I don't feel that confident. I went with the Eagles just simply because I felt like I had to. Like and
yeah, dude, that's kind of how I felt too.
kinda,
It's just like I'm not really taking the Bucks here, am I? Like,
yeah, I
I'm
know.
very
I
close.
thought
Though,
about
very
it.
close. Yeah,
I thought about it, but
same.
yeah. So we're both going with the Eagles there. But I would, for all betting purposes, stay as far away from that game as you possibly can. And I still think we'll see good things from that defensive front by the Bucks. And I will be replacing my Redskins jersey with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, the creamsicle one, the orange old school one.
I like them. They get
Dude,
a hard time for those uniforms. I think they're great.
they're going to be rocking them on Monday night. You better
Oh, are
believe
they?
it.
Fuck
Oh
yeah,
it's going to be fresh. So
Good.
yeah, I'll be pulling for the Bucks. But
No doubt.
I do just think at the end of the day, the Eagles come out with the dub. Hope I am wrong. Let's get to the second Monday night game where the LA Rams headed to Cincy, take on the Bengals. Rams at 1-1. Bengals yet again for the second season in a row at 0-2. The line was a bit surprising to me in favor of the Bengals at -2.5 and the over-under at 43.5. Of course, Burrow dealing with that nagging calf injury. But I think that their problems go a little bit deeper than a tweaked calf for Mr. Burrow. I think the Bengals, who were my Super Bowl pick, again, there I go with my jinxing. They have a lot of problems, and they are a loss away from that locker room falling apart. So they absolutely need to get this win on Monday night in front of their home crowd, but it's not going to be easy going against the LA Rams, who look like they're back, baby. The Rams are back, and they are out for fucking blood. And if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm shaking in me boots, and I'm not feeling too confident. And there's no guarantee that Burrow will even play. I mean, everyone's saying all signs are pointing to Burrow playing, but because they're back, they only have one other quarterback, and he's a rookie, and I can't remember his name. But I don't know, man. I'm not feeling good if I'm a Bengals fan. Not feeling good about this one. What stats you got?
Well, nothing that could probably sway you too much. Matthew Stafford's 93 pass attempts rank second in the NFL behind Mac Jones, which we talked about earlier. Stafford would need to throw 41 times to tie his career high for most pass attempts through the first 3 games of the season. I think he will. I think that that's just what they do now, is they throw the ball a lot. And then the Bengals are 9-3 against the spread in their past 12 games as a favorite. That goes back to last year where they were good. I think the biggest issue that the Bengals are going to have on Monday night is stopping Aaron Donald. I wouldn't get too hung up on, how are we going to slow down the Rams passing attempt and all? No, it's Aaron Donald's going to be a fucking problem, especially if they roll Joe Burrow out on a bad calf. That offensive line is doo-doo. And pardon my French, I just really think that they're going to struggle, man. And the Rams are, you said it, they're back, man. They look really good. They're fighting for every win. I didn't think there'd be a lot of life in this team, but they're saying, fuck that. We are here. We won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. We're not fucking around. We still have arguably the best pass rusher in the league. We still have a really good quarterback in Matt Stafford, who's played tremendously so far. So I like the Rams. I've got the Rams big in this matchup. I think that you can bet the spread, you can bet the money line, you can bet everything you want, because the Bengals just aren't going to match up very well, especially Aaron Donald just up the gut, putting whoever Cincinnati rolls out at quarterback on the ground. If they're smart, they sit Joe Burrow for this game.
I think they should put Joe Burrow on IR, let him rest for 4 weeks. Again, the guy is your franchise, so take care of him.
Yeah.
Don't put out a hobbled Burrow in front of an Aaron Donald. That is a recipe for disaster. But that's what they'll do because, frankly, I don't think who's the head coach of the Bengals? What's his name? I think
Zach
he's
Taylor. Zach
Taylor. Yeah,
something.
I think he's kind of a idiot. So I think he's going to throw Burrow out there, and it might not end well.
Yeah.
But I have the Rams getting the win. And I like the over of 43.5. But yeah, I'm really scared for my boy Joe Burrow on Monday. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, this is obviously a bigger issue than just doing a pick'ems episode, but like if you're Cincinnati, you got to look at it and go, okay, there's a lot of really good teams in the AFC. If we do further harm to our franchise quarterback, who's a top 3 quarterback in the league, like we're not going to have him for the playoffs anyway. So why would you even risk hurting him? Why not
Oh,
just, put him on IR,
yep.
lose a few games, get better draft picks, maybe trade T. Higgins at the deadline to get even more draft picks, bring some fresh blood in and make a
Yeah,
run next year. Like
I know
there, I don't
they won't.
understand. It's
They won't.
if they really rush Burrow out and he gets hurt, dude, that whole city's going to be on fire, just
Yeah.
calling for blood. Like there's just no
Now
reason to do it.
I hope Burrow comes out and all of a sudden we're like, what calf injury? And he
Right.
looks like the Burrow of old. But
Totally.
fact is, they are statistically the worst offense after 2 weeks of this season. So
Shocking.
it's not like that, a miracle is going to happen, especially after he re-aggravated the injury last week.
Right.
They would absolutely need a miracle for that to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen. So give me the Rams getting a 2-1, the Bengals going to 0-3, and now it's time to get to our brash parlay.
Say make money, money, make money, money, money. Make money, money, make money, money, money.
All right, and with our brash parlay, we took a little break from the parlay. It seems like. Then again, I think we're just going to stick with the Pandemonium, right? That's going to be our new bit.
Yeah.
Just all right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
I think the only time we've done a parlay outside of the Pandemonium is we did the season opener, we did the Super
Right.
Bowl.
Right.
I think for a huge matchup, maybe we'll do a same game when the Giants play the Commanders. Maybe we can do one of those. That'd be fun.
Maybe. I mean, we'll definitely do a Thanksgiving one when that time rolls around. But
Yeah.
gotta love a little turkey parlay. But we're not there quite yet. We're still in September, so we're just gonna do our
Do one thing at a
traditional
time here.
6-leg parlay. And dude, I love our picks. Love our picks this week. So let's get things kicked off with should we just get the favorites out of the way?
Let's get those favorites out of the way. I'll go first. I've got the Seattle Seahawks at home with the Carolina Panthers reeling, coming to town. Seattle, they play well at home. They match up well against the Panthers. I've got them big. I've got that money line minus 230 as a favorite. Love the Seattle Seahawks this week. Lock that one up.
We both went money line for our favorites. I went with the Jacksonville Jaguars getting that dub over the Texans in Jacksonville. I got and that one is at minus 375. So Jacksonville Jaguars money line minus 375. Josh has the Seahawks at minus 230.
Yeah, love that play. Jacksonville feels like a must win. Moving on to my coin flip. You're going to have a rainy, nasty, shitty day in Baltimore, Maryland, with the Colts coming to town without their starting stud rookie quarterback. It's going to be a Gardner Minshew in the rain type of day. That's why I love the under here, under 44.5 points. That just feels like an easy victory. I think both teams are just going to try and run the ball against each other, knowing that that's what's coming. Going to be a low-scoring game. I think the final score I've got is like 17-16, something around there. Probably Baltimore wins by more, but either way, that's like worst-case scenario. Under 44.5 is a lock. Lock that one up. Free money parlay. Let's fucking go.
You went under for your coin flip. I'm going over for mine, and that is for the Denver Broncos Miami Dolphins game. I'm going over 47.5 at a minus 110. So
Yeah, I gotta love
there are
that.
our coin flips. Loving it so far.
Gots to love that. Miami at home can put that many points up by themselves. Moving on to the underdogs. I love the Tennessee Titans this week, mostly because I hate the Cleveland Browns. So I
Nice.
think if the Titans are going to get plus 156 on the money line, you might as well throw it in there. That's going to happen. The Browns are awful. Deshaun Watson is trash. The Titans' rush defense is the best, maybe one of the best in the league. So they're not going to be able to rely on handing it off to Nick Chubb because he's out for the year. They got Jerome Ford. He's unknown. And going up against that defense, I think the Titans just figure it out. They figure out a way to win. Titans money line feels like a really, really good underdog pick here. Plus 156 in the parlay.
Love it. Love it. And I went. Well, I loved yours. I was thinking about going that same direction, but we can't have the same pick, Josh. We got to mix it up if it's going to be a 6-leg parlay. So I went with Josh Jacobs finally getting off his schneid because he has not looked like the Josh Jacobs of last year thus far, the first 2 weeks. But he might be catching a break going up against the Steelers defense and their 32nd ranked rush defense. So got Josh Jacobs getting over 90 yards or 90 plus rather at home against the Steelers on Sunday night at plus 158. So let's go JJ.
That is a beautiful pick.
Love it.
Absolutely love it.
So with those 6 picks in the books, that brings us to a total odds of plus 4101 and a $6 bet, as is tradition here. Brash Sports brings us to a total payout of $252.07. That is doable. That's a winner right there. This will be it. It's happening.
That's like going to a broken ATM that is just spitting cash out at you. Just roll up with your basket and let it shoot right in there. Walk away with that free money. This parlay is hitting. I feel really good about it.
It's gold, baby. All right. That's it. That's our pick on Pandemonium. We got nothing more. Unless you do, Josh. You want anything you wanted to get?
Yeah. In fact, why don't you go ahead and get settled in? Because this is going to take a while.
Oh, man. That's a bummer.
I'm just kidding. I got nothing else. I got to go watch some college football.
All right. Cool, buddy. We'll have fun. And I will catch you on the next one.
Peace.